All you youngsters need to understand the magnitude of this upset. 42-1 odds. A moment for us where we remember exactly where we were.
Doug Kazarian, I'm Michael Eaves, and even nearly 30 years later, I still can't believe that Buster Douglas actually knocked out Mike Tyson, who wasn't just the undefeated heavyweight champion at the time, he was literally the most feared man on the planet. But on February 11, 1990, Tyson went the way of Debo and got knocked the hell out. And the guy who delivered one of, if not the greatest upset in sports history joins us now. Buster Douglas, along with Jeremy Schaap, who co-directed the latest 30 for 30 film, 42-1, attended a special screening of the film tonight in Columbus, Ohio. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Buster, let me start with you. Through the making of this film and watching the premiere tonight, what memories or emotions from that night resonate with you the most?
Well, just about everything, you know, because we dug deep into the interview and brought up a lot of emotional feelings, and it took me back, and it was telling you, and they have all that brought out of you, and then to see it all come together on screen like it was presented tonight is a beautiful thing. It was wonderful. A+. It was greatly, I love the way it all came together.
You had some disappointing moments prior to that fight. Of course, you asked your father to leave your camp. Your mother died right before that fight, but then you triumphed on the world stage. How much of the memories you have of that time are actually fond memories?
A lot. I mean, you know, it's a lot, and it's a great blend of emotions. You know, it was a really spectacular, you know, seeing it all on film. You know, it was just great. I love the way it all came together. You know, the true emotional feeling came out. It was wonderful. I'm really appreciative of all the effort that was put into this.
Jeremy, so much of the attention from that night focused on Mike Tyson and his subsequent downfall. But what do most fans not realize about what that fight did for the man sitting next to you?
Well, I think this story, Michael, has often been told from the perspective of Mike Tyson, who was this phenomenon going into the fight. And even for 15 years after that, I mean, Mike Tyson doesn't retire until 2005. 15 years after this fight takes place, he remained in many ways the biggest figure in the sport. Even when he went to prison for 3 years for raping Desiree Washington, he was still a colossus in the sport. But people haven't spent a lot of energy, emotional energy, thinking about Buster Douglas and what it took to achieve that upset, which is, as you said, one of the most spectacular upsets ever in sports, and how Buster Douglas was able to, on February 11th, 1990, tap into all of his potential, reach deep inside himself to fashion this incredible performance, which so few people expected from him. But in terms of where Mike Tyson stood in the public consciousness at that time, and how little regard there was for the man next to me who had all that talent and all that potential, but we hadn't seen it fully displayed yet. This is a monumental moment. It's one of the very few moments, I think, Michael, at least for people of a certain age, who can tell you, people can tell you where they were when they found out that Mike Tyson lost to Buster Douglas. And the other thing that's interesting here that I think the film puts into perspective and serves as kind of a corrective for is the impression, disabusing people of the misimpression that this was a fluke or that Buster got lucky. You've watched the fight. You know what happened. He dominated that fight. He dominated Mike Tyson for 10 rounds, with the exception of getting knocked down in the 8th and getting up. It was a butt-kicking, really. There was nothing lucky about it.
You know, Buster, you went from relative obscurity to one of the most famous sports trivia answers of all time. In what capacity did that fight impact your life the most?
Well, I have to say in all aspects, because like you said, I was in non-existent at the time to coming out or being known all over the world. But it's a great feeling, you know, a great goal, a great accomplishment. And, you know, I shared this with my mother and father and my family. You know, it was just something that, you know, it all came together, and I'm just blessed that it came out when it did.
Yeah, it was an unforgettable moment for those of us, as Jeremy said, of a certain age who remember exactly where we were that night when we saw you beat, we thought, the most feared man in all of the world right there in Tokyo. Buster Douglas, Jeremy Schaap, thanks so much for joining us here on SportsCenter.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.